What can you really do in 10 seconds? You can take one breath, name one feeling, notice one good thing, make one tiny move. That sounds too small to change anything, but your brain doesn't always need a big solution. Sometimes it just needs one small signal that says, this moment is safe enough. In this video, you'll learn 5 tiny brain habits that can help your brain feel better in about 10 seconds, not by forcing happiness, but by giving your brain something simple it can actually use. In the last video, we talked about why your brain can resist happiness. This time, we're turning that idea into action. What to do in the first 10 seconds when your mind starts fighting the moment. The first tiny brain habit is the long exhale switch. You don't have to force your mind to calm down. Start with the body. One of the fastest signals your brain can read is your breathing. In a 2023 Stanford-led study published in Cell Reports Medicine, researchers compared short daily breathing practices with mindfulness meditation. One technique, called cyclic sighing, used a fuller inhale and a long, slow exhale. The result was simple but important. The breathing groups improved mood and slowed their breathing rate, and cyclic sighing showed especially strong results. In plain English, your breath isn't just air moving in and out. It's a message your brain is constantly reading. When you're tense, your breathing often gets shorter, faster, and higher in your chest. Your brain can read that as a possible danger signal. But when you lengthen the exhale, your body sends a different message. This moment is safe enough. Try it now. Breathe in through your nose. Before you breathe out, take a tiny second inhale. Then, let the air out slowly, without pushing. Do it one more time. This isn't magic. It won't solve your whole day, but it can create a small shift, a little less pressure, a little more space, and a tiny pause between the feeling and your reaction. So the first switch is this. Before you try to think better, breathe in a way your brain can trust. Once your body gets that safety signal, the next step is to make the feeling less mysterious. That brings us to the second habit. Name it. The second tiny brain habit is the name it switch. Once your body gets a safety signal, the next step is to make the emotion less mysterious. Your brain doesn't do well with vague emotional noise. When a feeling is unclear, it can feel like a dark cloud or a background alarm. But when you put it into words, your brain gets a clearer map of what's happening. Researchers call this affect labeling. In a well-known UCLA study, people looked at emotional images and labeled what they saw. The researchers found that putting feelings into words was linked with less activity in the amygdala, a brain area involved in threat detection, and more activity in a prefrontal region involved in regulation. In other words, naming a feeling doesn't make you weak. It gives your brain a handle. It helps move the moment from panic to recognition. Try it now. Don't explain it. Don't judge it. Just name it. Say quietly, this is stress. Or, this is disappointment. Or, this is tiredness. Or, this is uncertainty. Then add one small line. This is stress, not danger. That sentence matters because sometimes your brain treats discomfort like a threat. But a feeling isn't always a warning. Sometimes it's just information. The result isn't instant happiness. The result is clarity. And clarity gives your brain a little more room to choose what happens next. So the second switch is this. Name the feeling before the feeling names your whole day. Now that your body is calmer and the feeling is clearer, the third habit is about where your attention goes next. The third tiny brain habit is the good thing scan. Now that your body is calmer and the feeling is clearer, where is your attention going? Because your brain doesn't just react to what's happening, it reacts to what it keeps noticing. And most of the time, your brain is very good at finding what's wrong. The unfinished task, the awkward conversation, the thing you should have done better, the problem that might happen later. That's useful sometimes. But if your attention only scans for problems, your whole life can start to feel heavier than it really is. So this habit isn't about pretending everything is amazing. It's not fake gratitude. It's much smaller than that. For 10 seconds, look for one thing that isn't terrible. Just one. Maybe the room is quiet. Maybe your coffee is warm. Maybe your chair feels stable. Maybe your breathing is a little slower than it was 1 minute ago. Try it now. Look around and silently name One small thing that's okay. Don't make it dramatic. Don't force yourself to feel happy. Just let your brain notice it for 10 seconds. The result is a tiny shift in attention, not a perfect mood, not instant joy, just one small reminder that the moment contains more than the problem. So the third switch is this. Happiness isn't missing. Sometimes it's just unnoticed. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think feeling better means finding a big reason to be happy. But sometimes your brain only needs one small piece of evidence that the moment isn't all bad. Not perfect, not amazing, just not all bad. That tiny shift matters because once your attention stops staring only at the problem, your brain has a little more room to move. And that leads to the next switch. Once your brain notices one thing that's okay, the next habit gives it something even stronger, a small sense of control. The fourth tiny brain habit is the one small win switch. This one is different from the first three. The long exhale gives your brain a safety signal. Naming the feeling gives your brain clarity. The good thing scan gives your brain a softer place to look. But sometimes your brain needs something more physical than a thought. It needs evidence. When you feel stuck, your brain can start acting like nothing is moving. The day feels heavy. Your mind feels slow. Even small tasks feel bigger than they are. And if you wait until you feel motivated, you may keep waiting. So instead of asking, how do I fix this whole feeling? Ask a smaller question. What's one tiny thing I can move right now? Not your whole life, not your whole mood, just one thing. Close one browser tab. Put one object back. Take one sip of water. Write one sentence. Stand up and take 10 steps. Turn your phone face down. Then say quietly, one thing moved. That line matters. It gives your brain proof that you're not completely stuck. You created motion. You made one small choice. You interrupted the freeze. The result isn't instant confidence. It's a tiny sense of control. And sometimes that tiny sense of control is enough to make the next moment feel lighter. Try it now. Pick one small thing near you and move it before this section ends. Because the fourth switch is this. Your brain doesn't always need a big plan. Sometimes it just needs one small win. But after you create that small win, there's one more habit that matters. Because if your inner voice attacks you right after, the progress can disappear. That brings us to the fifth switch, speaking to yourself with a little more kindness. The fifth tiny brain habit is the kind inner voice switch. This one is quiet, but for many people, it may be the most important. Because sometimes, what makes a hard moment heavier isn't the moment itself. It's the voice inside your head after the moment happens. You feel tired, and the voice says, you're lazy. You feel behind, and it says, everyone else is doing better. You make one mistake, and it says, this is who you are. Little by little, your brain starts living with an inner critic that never takes a break. But here's the shift. Your brain doesn't become calmer when you attack it. It becomes more tense, more defensive, and more afraid to try again. So, this habit isn't about pretending everything is okay. It isn't about forcing positive thoughts. It's much simpler than that. For 10 seconds, stop turning against yourself. Say quietly, this is hard, but I can be kind to myself for one breath. Or, I can be on my own side for 10 seconds. That may sound small, but small is the point. You're not trying to become a completely different person in one moment. You're teaching your brain that even when life feels messy, you don't have to add another layer of pain on top of it. The result isn't instant happiness, it's relief. A little less pressure, a little less shame, a little more room to breathe. So the fifth switch is this. You don't have to force your brain to feel happy. Sometimes feeling better starts when you stop making the moment harder than it already is. And before this video ends, choose just one of these 5 habits and give your brain one small signal that the moment can soften. Not the most impressive one, the one your brain can actually do right now. If your body feels tense, choose the breath. If your mind feels noisy, name the feeling. If the moment feels heavy, notice one thing that's okay. If you feel stuck, create one small win. And if your inner voice has been harsh today, choose one kinder sentence. There's no perfect choice here, just one small signal. Now choose one. In a moment, the screen will go quiet for 10 seconds. That's it. One small signal. One small shift. If this helped you breathe a little easier, subscribe to Simple Brain Habits for more calm, practical brain habits for happiness, focus, and confidence. See you in the next video.